I made a silly joke to my husband and he stormed off. How do I fix this? Hi, Reddit. I'm a bit of an Instagram lurker, so this is my first time posting here. Honestly, I never imagined I'd post because my husband, 30M, and I, 27F, have a great relationship. Sure, we've had our occasional bumps like anyone, but it's mostly been a dream. We got married in April 2021, and we both cried like babies at the altar. Since then, everything's been smooth sailing. Earlier today, we got home after a casual lunch outing with our newly engaged friends Ben and Emma. The lunch was fun, but pretty ordinary, nothing special. We did bring back some amazing leftover pasta, which I'm now shoveling into my mouth because it's too cold for ice cream. We live in a small apartment, so he hopped in the shower first while I put away the leftovers and tidied up a bit. After he finished, I took my turn in the shower. As I was putting on lotion afterward, I accidentally squeezed too much onto my hand. I dabbed a bit off, rubbed it into my face, and still had some left on my finger. That's when my inner goof came out. I used the lotion to draw a smiley face and spiky hair on my thumb, creating Lotion Man. I came out of the bathroom grinning. "Hey, look, it's Lotion Man," I said, holding up my thumb. He looked at me, blinked, and didn't really react. Undeterred, I started using a silly voice and rambling random nonsense, throwing in some of our inside jokes. I kept going for about a minute, still goofing around, until he suddenly grabbed some of his stuff and walked out. At first, I didn't realize what was happening. I stayed playful, asking, "Where are you going?" because I thought it was just part of the joke or that he was being funny. He grabbed enough things to last a while. He's got a huge truck. And we just returned from a trip, so it didn't hit me until he drove off that he was actually leaving. I feel so stupid for making such a dumb joke and then letting him just walk out like that. I've been texting him, but he only sent one reply saying he's thinking about things and that he's at his brother Derek's place. Since then, he hasn't read or responded to any of my texts. I even tried messaging Derek, but I'm not getting a response there either. I know he goes to bed early, so I doubt I'll hear from him tonight. I feel frozen, like I'm just stuck in the moment. I literally stared at the door for 10 minutes before I snapped out of it and started messaging him. We've been together for years, and I'm always cracking dumb jokes. That's who I am. But now I feel terrible for making Lotion Man and pushing it when he didn't respond. I should have just shut up and taken the hint. At the same time, I'm confused. He's never reacted like this before, even during tougher moments. The worst we've ever done is take breaks from intimacy or talk less for a bit. Now he's just gone. And divorce? I can't even think about that right now. It makes me feel sick. Did I really screw up as badly as it feels? How do I get him to come home? I'd love any advice. Also, since it's my first time on Reddit, if you have cute subreddit suggestions to distract me, please let me know. Thanks for reading. Hey Reddit, I'm back. I posted earlier about my husband walking out after I made a dumb joke. You can find the original post on my profile if you're curious. I followed a lot of the advice you all gave me, and I've been keeping my distance. Your responses really got me thinking about our relationship. How much of it was the butterflies and kittens I thought it was. I still believe we were perfect before all this, but, well, I guess we all have our own perspectives. Turns out some of you were right and some of you were wrong. For those of you who said the lotion thing wasn't the real reason he left, you were kind of wrong. But the ones who guessed something went down during the lunch outing, you hit the nail on the head. A few days ago, my husband came back. He apologized and said he was ready to talk. I agreed, trying my best not to throw myself at him, even though I'd missed him like crazy. He's my husband, after all. Here's what he told me. During the lunch with our friends Ben, 30M, and Emma, 29F, we spent most of the time eating and talking as a group, but since it was a fusion buffet with incredible food, people were constantly getting up. Apparently, there was a point when my husband and Emma went to get food together, or maybe it was right before we left. I do remember talking to just Ben for a bit before the others came back to the table. Whatever it was, they were alone. While they were alone, Emma told my husband that after Ben proposed, she realized she was in love with him. My husband. She said she accepted Ben's proposal to try and bury her feelings but couldn't, so she arranged the lunch outing to see him. Apparently, seeing him charmed her, whatever nonsense she's telling herself, because she asked him to run away with her. Emma is unfortunately gorgeous. I hate to admit it, especially because I'm furious with her, but she's the classic blonde, blue-eyed pageant tyke who looks like Emma Watson. I'm not that. My husband turned her down and wished her the best, but he said he couldn't stop thinking about her, especially since we were all college friends and have known each other for years. When I showed him Lotion Man, it all exploded in his head. There I was in a hair towel and old clothes, giggling over something silly, and he says my immaturity triggered him. He started comparing me to Emma, her perfection versus my goofiness, and panicked. That's when he left and went to his brother's house. He told me he eventually realized he loves me all over again, which is why he came home. I just sat there, frozen. I asked him a few questions, mostly about what happened with Emma. Then I told him to sleep on the couch, at least for that night. He did, but it didn't help me sleep at all. I can't believe he even considered throwing away our relationship for a crush. The more I think about it, the harder it is to look him in the eye. We went to Thanksgiving lunch with some of his family and close friends yesterday, and we spent the night together, so I think he assumes everything is fine now. But I can't lie. I'm seriously considering forgiving and forgetting. It's tempting just to make all the hurt go away. He'll be home from work in about 6 hours. I have the day off, I'm a teacher, so I'm debating my next steps. Here are my options. A, tell Ben what Emma did. My husband begged me not to because he claims Emma's actions were just a spontaneous mistake, but Ben deserves to know. B, confront Emma. I could either rip into her for trying to wreck my marriage or have a civil conversation. Not as tempting, but it's an option. C, contact Derek, my husband's brother, to ask if my husband left his house at any point. Derek lives close to Emma, and I'm worried about that connection. But Derek is loyal to his brother, so I doubt I'll get any info. D, do all of the above. Any advice, or even just good vibes, would mean a lot right now. I'm not in the best place. If I do post an update, it'll be on my profile since I know this subreddit has a one-up policy. Plus, I don't want to share until I have a clearer picture of what my future looks like. Divorce terrifies me. Just the thought of all the legal stuff makes me nauseous. But it's starting to feel like a real possibility. I wish I could just forget everything. Thanks for reading. Hey Reddit, I'm back, and I want to say thank you so much for the incredible support. Seriously, I'm blown away. So many of you took the time to comment and message me, and I had some great conversations with a lot of kind, thoughtful people. I feel incredibly supported, and it's comforting during this nightmare of a situation. I wish I could respond to each of you, but I did upvote every comment. I think my first post got deleted, but here's the update. And yes, I'll post pictures of Lotion Man as soon as I figure out how. Many of you had different theories, and surprisingly, a lot of you were close to the truth. The majority suggested I confront everyone involved. My husband, Ben, Emma's fiance, Emma, and my husband's brother, Derek. So I tackled it one step at a time. I also had to be strategic because a few of you warned me that anyone involved might try to twist the story. Buckle up, because the full story is messy, confusing, and full of unanswered questions, and still piecing it all together. From what I've learned, when my husband got home, we sat down to talk. He repeated the same story. Emma confessed her feelings, he got overwhelmed, and he left. He also agreed to the marriage counseling I'd suggested earlier. I gave him a hug and took on a chore he usually handles. We split household tasks, but I'd been giving him the cold shoulder. In his mind, I think that meant I had forgiven him. I hadn't, not by a long shot. I needed to meet Ben without raising suspicions. Since Ben's a gym fanatic and I'd been meaning to go anyway, I suggested we meet up for a casual gym session. He agreed. The next morning, we sat down together and I told him everything I knew. I broke down crying, ugly, messy, sobbing. And at first, Ben tried to poke holes in my story. He was gentle about it, but clearly didn't want to believe me. Eventually, though, he broke down too. Emma hadn't told him a single thing. That alone was a massive red flag. Ben and I confronted Emma together. Following some advice from Reddit, I didn't give her any details at first. I just said, I know everything. At first she played dumb, but it didn't take long for her to crack. Turns out the whole story about her trying to settle a crush was a lie. My husband had approached her, not the other way around. He asked if she wanted to spend a night with him and another woman before her engagement with Ben became official. And Emma said yes. But that's not all. Emma admitted she'd been cheating on Ben for a long time, with multiple people. My husband was one of them. They covered for each other's cheating and occasionally met up. However, Emma canceled at the last minute, saying she wanted to be loyal to Ben now that they were engaged. Never mind that she'd been cheating the entire relationship. That's why my husband had been so frustrated when I showed him Lotion Man. Emma backed out of their plan and everything came crashing down on him. Later that day, I found Derek. He confirmed that my husband stayed at his place, but didn't arrive until around 11 p.m. He'd left the house around 8 p.m., leaving a 3-hour gap. Derek didn't know where he'd been and said he hadn't asked many questions. I mentioned Lotion Man, and Derek suggested that maybe my husband had just been driving around to clear his head. That didn't seem like him, but it was something to consider. That night, after my husband fell asleep, I took his phone. I didn't want to snoop too much, so I just checked his hidden photo album, and there it was. Everything blew up in my face. Nudes, lots of them. All from one woman. Not me, and not Emma. I didn't recognize her. Let's call her Allison. She's gorgeous, red hair, curvy, and everything I'm not. I found her contact info and realized my husband had been talking to her since early February, right before Valentine's Day. I'd planned an elaborate surprise for him that year and thought I was the luckiest woman alive. Turns out he was already cheating on me. The most recent nude was from November 1st, and on November 3rd, Allison sent an angry text. She'd found out he was married and was devastated. She told him she'd fallen in love with him, but didn't bother reaching out to me. My husband's genius solution? He told Allison he'd prove I was okay with the affair by bringing his wife to meet her at a hotel. The plan was to have Emma pose as me. When Emma canceled, my husband tried to reschedule with Allison, got angry when she wouldn't budge, and snapped when I showed him Lotion Man. Then he stormed off and spent the night at Derek's. The next morning, I brought Ben and Emma over to confront my husband. He denied everything at first, but eventually admitted it. His excuse? He had a fetish for redheads that I couldn't fulfill, and being with other women only made him love me more. I called bullshit, packed my stuff, and left. Since he owns the apartment, I didn't have much choice. Now, I'm staying with Ben. He's as heartbroken as I am. We cried together, hugged, and ranted. Later, he made lunch to lighten the mood. He's an amazing cook. I showed him my Reddit posts, and we both got a good laugh from some of your comments. As far as I know, my husband and Emma are still seeing each other. I don't care about either of them anymore. It feels good to have some closure and stop walking on eggshells. Ben and I plan to hit the gym tomorrow for some relaxing yoga. We're both off work for now and just trying to figure out our next steps. I'm sorting out my finances and getting ready to file for divorce. I'm still a mess. I've got pictures of my husband and me on my desk, and our wedding photo is the lock screen on most of my devices. My students will notice his sudden disappearance, and I'll have to explain to them, my family, and my friends that the man I loved is gone. Ben has been my rock, but I know we'll have to part ways eventually. There's so much to figure out. Living arrangements, divorce, legal stuff, therapy. It's overwhelming. But I'm so grateful to you, Reddit. Your honesty, support, and even your blunt truths have helped me more than I can express. You saved me from staying with a cheating husband, and you helped Ben too. Thank you for following my story and cheering me on. I'll be back for more advice someday, but for now, this is my final update. Thanks again from both me and Ben. This is a long one, but I've got it. I'll rewrite it with your usual preferences, changing names as needed, and keeping everything flowing naturally. Here's how it will go down. Hey there, Reddit. It's been a minute since I last checked in. Life has been a whirlwind, to say the least. First off, wow, seeing all the supportive messages, well wishes, and folks asking for updates absolutely warmed my heart. You guys were a rock for me when things were at their lowest. Some of you even shared stories about going through similar situations. One person's boyfriend even blamed the puppy for their mess. wild. She sent me a pic of the pup, too. He looked like the sweetest little guy. It blows my mind how universal heartbreak can be, but your kindness reminded me that hope and humanity still exist. Fast forward, 2 whole years have passed. It feels like a lifetime, and yet also like it all happened just yesterday. And now, here's the latest update. Spoiler, it's a lot. Buckle up. Let's start with the bad news. Ben and I had a pretty ugly fallout. To keep this brief, we were roommates and super involved in each other's lives. Our schedules were so in sync that we always knew when the other was home, out running errands, or whatever. One day, Ben tells me he's got a date lined up. I was happy for him. This was only a few months after D-Day for me, and I was still knee-deep in my messy divorce proceedings, so dating wasn't even on my radar. Ben went on the date, then another, then suddenly no more dates. A week passed, and I asked what happened. He said she'd ghosted him. Then, a week later, out of nowhere, Ben tells me he tried meeting up with her again. Now he's sobbing on the couch, and I felt bad for him. Recovering from a tough breakup is never easy. He explained that those dates helped him realize it was really over with his ex. Apparently, the girl next door charm he once loved had reverted back to a customer service act, and it stung. Ben blocked her after that. I tried to be supportive and just let it go. A few months later, Ben announced another date, this time with a mutual friend's friend. Again, I was like, go for it. He started disappearing for long chunks of time on these dates. He'd leave for hours and even asked me to handle some errands because he'd be out all day. Then I met this new girl, Hannah. She was sweet and, bonus, also a teacher. Things seemed perfect. Ben and Hannah were adorable together, and I finalized my divorce around this time too. But those long dates bugged me. When I casually asked, Ben said Hannah picked places far away and that he didn't know where she lived, even though she'd eaten at our place several times. That felt fishy, so I checked Instagram. That's when I found out Hannah had been married since 2019. Yikes. I immediately woke Ben, not my smartest move, and showed him the receipts. He got furious. We had a huge argument. He accused me of being too invested in his life and even hinted that I had feelings for him. That hurt, so I snapped back and things escalated. I walked away. The next morning, Ben admitted he'd known Hannah was married all along. He didn't care because she claimed her marriage was loveless. I was shocked. I asked how he'd feel if Marie's flings had known she was married. He blew up again. We argued some more before he left for work, and our friendship was pretty much done at that point. I moved out soon after. After I left, life got even tougher. My ex got engaged, I was trying to settle into a new community, and the stress at work was insane. I went on a few bad dates and sank deeper into loneliness. My ex eventually reached out, apologizing and asking to meet up. I wasn't in a good headspace, so I agreed. Big mistake. After apologizing, he bragged about his life, his fiancé, and how much better off he was without me. It stung, and I left, regretting the whole encounter. But life has a funny way of turning around. After all that mess, I went on one more date, where I met Ethan. He's the best thing that's ever happened to me. Sweet, patient, and endlessly energetic. I used to think I needed a serious, brooding guy to balance me out, but Ethan's bright energy matches mine perfectly. We make silly jokes, have deep talks, and I've never felt so alive and loved. Fast forward to late 2024, life's great with Ethan. I've moved back closer to work, and I returned to my old gym. That's when I saw Ben again. He apologized, said he regretted our fight, and left the door open for friendship. We haven't reconnected yet, but I see him around. It feels like he's a character from a past chapter of my life, one I'm happy to leave behind. On a lighter note, I showed Ethan a sketch of Lotion Man, and he loved it. Now we have a whole crew of silly characters, Soap Man, Ketchup Man, and more. Life is brighter with Ethan in it. So yeah, that's the latest update. Life has changed so much, and I've learned that being unapologetically yourself is the best way forward. Things will always get better. Shine bright and don't let the small boxes of life dim your light. Thanks for reading, Reddit. Love you guys.